It's Sunday, April 22nd, 2018, and it's time to bite into the meatiness of thought on Sunday. Smorgasbord. Smorgasbord. Board, not Borg. Board. Smorgasbord. Some of you people may be already bored with what I'm doing right now, but we're going to start off. This is the 13th week that we've done this consistently. We're starting our 14th week. And it's probably our best week view-wise that we've had. We're up to 783 total views. We're up to 122 videos. This will be 123. We actually had 115 views this week, which is like 34 ahead of my best previous week. So, tons of people are watching, which is cool. We did only 7 videos this week. Wasn't able to do a neutral zone infraction / that mediocre sports show because my partner in crime is not here. So we went up in subscribers. We're up to 15 subscribers. So we're going in the right direction and everything. So it's I even have a video, my Red Dead Redemption video has like 50 views already, which is I know there are people out there that get 115 views in the first minute they put up their video, but when you're a smaller channel and you don't have a lot of subscribers, it's exciting when you get over 100 views in a week. I mean, it took me like 3 weeks at one point to get to 150 total views. Actually, it took me a year and it took me a long time because I did 2 videos early on, and then I stopped for a while. Then I did about 8 or 9 more videos, and then I didn't do anything for like 10 months. So I'm into this full steam ahead. I do a show every single day. Sunday, Smorgasbord. Monday is Van Ren 10 on sports. Tuesday is a song dissection. Wednesday is Easy Gamer. Thursday is Nostalgia Trippin'. Friday is another song dissection just because I like doing them. They're fun for me. And Saturday is my 10s, which are just lists of 10 things that I want to talk about. So Sunday Smorgasbord, which I'm having a real hard time saying, is a show where I get to talk about the things that I want to talk about as well. More of just whatever random topics I decide I want to talk about. It usually is about gaming or sports because those are things I know more about than most other things. Obviously, you can tell I'm not giving dating tips here. If you're coming to this channel looking for that, please don't. I'm terrible at it, just terrible. So we're going to talk about my underrated movies. Movies that I think are underrated. You may think they're total crap. Maybe you've never seen it. Maybe you'll watch one of these movies thinking, it's like, he was right, it is an underrated movie and I should have watched it. Or maybe you've already seen the movie and you go, you're wrong. You're so wrong. That is not underrated. It's bad. That movie is as underrated as it should be lower rated. It's so terrible. So, we're going to start off the first movie, the Angry Birds movie. That's right. I actually love that movie, and it got panned by critics, panned by fans. I don't think it does very well in the Rotten Tomatoes score, but I loved it. I was surprised. It was on Netflix. It wasn't a movie I wanted to see in the theaters. It's not a game I particularly love. I'm not a huge fan of the Angry Birds game. I do have it on my phone, but it's not one of my favorite games of all time. But it is a good time killer sometimes when you're bored. But the movie entertained me. I was surprised at how entertained I was by that movie. To me, the jokes hit where I wanted them to. I thought they did a pretty good characterization of the birds that they used. So, the pigs were hilarious. To me, the movie worked. I mean, to take a game where all you do is pull back on the, slingshot and launch little birds at little green pig heads and find an hour-and-a-half movie, that's some pretty good writing to create that story because there's no story there, and they created one. If you said, I'm not going to see that movie just because I think it's a stupid premise to make a movie out of that particular game, give it a try. And don't try to compare it to the game. Give it a chance on its own merit and let the writers show you what they did because the screenwriters did a very good job. Now, I only have that movie on Netflix, and I've watched it probably 8 or 9 times, you know, maybe even 10. I've watched that movie a lot. Here's another movie I watched a lot. But when you think Rodney Dangerfield movies, what's the first movie that comes into your head? Please don't say Ladybugs. For most of us, the first movie that pops into our head is Back to School. Probably Rodney Dangerfield's most successful movie. He was in Caddyshack. He did a really great job in Caddyshack. And he's had some other bit parts. He's played really good in movies. But to me, one of his best movies of all time, and one that doesn't get a lot of love, is this one. Easy Money. This movie is freaking hilarious. Joe Pesci is amazing in this movie. He is so funny. I don't know why he plays a tough guy in every movie he's in for some reason, except for like Lethal Weapon. But he's hilarious. He's hilarious. The whole movie is just incredibly funny. You know, he's this guy has a gambling problem. He has a drinking problem. He has a drug problem, and basically he's told by his rich relatives, if you cannot do any of that stuff, if you can give it all up, he'll get like millions of dollars so that they can all live a great life. You know, one of the best, you know, his mother-in-law is the one, of course, that wants him to give up all this stuff because she wants her daughter to have a better life than, of course, what he can give her. Because he's got a drinking problem, a drug problem, he gambles, he smokes, he's got a lot of vices, man. So he has to give it all up so that he can get money because he wants a better life for his family too. But it's hilarious. The whole movie's hilarious. And of course the best line is at the end of that movie when he goes, you know, for years I wouldn't kiss my mother-in-law's face. I ended up kissing her ass. You know, so it's like great movie. It's a ton of fun, and you should watch it. If you've already watched it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched it and you're a Dangerfield fan and an 80s movies fan, you got to be an 80s movie fan. Watch this movie. It's 80s movies personified. Another movie I don't feel gets enough love, but I think it has a pretty big cult following. Usual Suspects. This movie I stumbled onto. I just stumbled onto it. I was actually a fan of Kevin Spacey's before you found out what a creep he is. But I was also a big fan of Kevin Pollak. Gabriel Byrne is also really good. And I think that's not Benicio del Toro. Why am I going to say his name? Yeah, it is Benicio del Toro. I'm getting him confused with somebody else. But I mean, the only one who's probably not the most talented actor in the universe is Stephen Baldwin, but even he does a good job with the character that's in it. Chaz Palminteri is really good, and I want to say they don't list him in this. I wish they did because he does a great job as well. But it's the guy that actually plays the cop in here. He plays one of the cops or one of the detectives. Chaz Palminteri plays the lead detective that's been after, like, you know, Gabriel Byrne's character. He really wants to get Gabriel Byrne's character, and Kaiser Soze comes from this whole thing. I won't give away the end because I want you to see the film. It's a great movie. It's not really an action movie. It's more of a probably a psychological thriller. It had a nice little twist at the end. If you've seen the movie, then of course you know what the twist is. But to me, all those actors did a great job. I love the movie. I really do. I was surprised. Nobody in this is a huge name. Kevin Spacey was probably the biggest name in this. I know that what he's done is terrible, but we're finding out that everybody in Hollywood's done terrible things. But don't watch this for Kevin Spacey. Watch it for Gabriel Byrne and Benicio del Toro and Chaz Palminteri and Kevin Pollak. I mean, Kevin Pollak, he's a stand-up comic. I've never thought of him as a tough guy, but he plays a pretty good tough guy in this. So watch it for all of them. Don't pan this movie because this guy kind of messed up everything. The rest of these people do such a great job. They really do. And it's a really underrated movie, and it's really good. And I have a feeling because it's got Kevin Spacey, it's going to get even more buried over time. We can't punish the actors that worked with him that maybe didn't know that he was such a creep. You just have to, kind of separate the person from the movie. So see it for the other people, because they do a good job, and they deserve, to be seen in this. My next movie, Clerks 2. I know what you're saying. If you're a Clerks 1 fan, you probably like this, but you're probably like, I like the original Clerks better. Not me. I love the original Clerks. I still remember watching that movie and going, it's like, why is it starting in black and white? It's like, it's an artsy thing. They'll go to color any minute now. He falls out of the closet. I'm going, okay, they're going to go through the credits and then they're going to go to color. He goes to his job, opens the job. Any minute now, it's going to go to color. He puts his head down on the thing. Okay, when he comes back up from having his head up, it stayed black and white the whole movie. And I'm just going, and I still enjoyed it. But I like this movie better. To me, the jokes were better. Rosario Dawson is my favorite in this. All these characters, Randall's of course my favorite character, period, but I think Rosario Dawson does a great job hanging with a lot of very good comedic talent in this movie. It is probably my favorite Kevin Smith movie. In fact, I know it's my favorite Kevin Smith movie. But I love Clerks 2. I want Clerks 3 to come out. I mean, I really do, because I think Clerks was amazing, and Clerks 2, in my opinion, was better. I don't know what you think, but, let me know what you think in the comments. But I think this movie's underrated. It doesn't get talked about. They talk about Clerks, but Clerks 2 doesn't get enough love. And it's hilarious. This movie, it has to do with them all growing up, and, and they're still kind of they're not in the quick stop and the video store anymore. They're now working at a fast food restaurant. But it's still the same thing. They're not, they're in their like late 20s, early 30s, and they're still working a dead-end job. And it's time to kind of spread your wings a little bit, and it's kind of, there's a few sentimental parts that don't really fit with this kind of a movie, but it's still a great movie. It's still hilarious. Now, my last movie that I think is underrated, it's a Disney film, and it's an early Disney film. But this movie is severely underrated. When you hear about the great Disney animated films, you never hear this. And this is my favorite Disney animated film, Robin Hood. I love this movie. Baloo Bear basically plays Little John. There's your Robin Hood. There's Maid Marian. The cast is great. The movie is great. The writing is great. That's great comedy, great music. Little John and Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest, skipping. Oh, I love all the music in this. It's a great movie, and it's underrated, and it's a Disney movie. It's one of their early ones. It happened way before Lion King and Aladdin and all of those. It was probably more in the era of like Snow White and Cinderella and, Sleeping Beauty and some of those. So it kind of got buried. But it's a great movie. If you love Disney movies, you got to give this one a shot. And even if you just like animated movies with the classic style of animation, this is a great one. It's really funny, really good music. I highly recommend that you go see that one. I don't feel it ever gets enough love in the Disney pantheon of animated movies, because to me, it's the best. It's the one that always makes me laugh. I can still watch it to this day, and it cracks me up. I love the characters. I love the whole bit. So what are some movies that you think are underrated and don't get enough love? Is there any, are these movies you think I'm overrating them because, it is just my opinion. But, what do you think? Have you seen any of these movies? Would you see any of these movies? So, let me know down in the comments. And with all that being said, to the troops, past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.